Hello students, today we are going to start a new chapter, Light, chapter 16 of your textbook. The sense of sight is one of the most important senses. Through it, we get information about things around us. Have you ever thought how we see various objects? It's only when light from an object enters our eyes that we see the object. When a ray of light strikes on a smooth and shiny surface, it comes back from the surface. This phenomenon is known as reflection. To understand the phenomenon of reflection of light, listen to this activity. The objects that we require: plain mirror, a comb, torch and white sheet of paper. What you have to do is fix a white sheet of paper on a table. Take a comb and close all its openings using strip of black paper except one in the middle. Hold the comb perpendicular to the sheet of paper. Then throw light from a torch through the opening of the comb from one side. With slight adjustment of the torch and the comb, you will see a ray of light along the paper on the other side of the comb. Then place a strip of plain mirror in the path of the light ray and then observe it. What you can see is reflected ray from the mirror on the paper. What will be your conclusion from this? A ray of light is reflected from the mirror. The light ray which strikes any surface is called the incident ray, and the point at which the incident ray falls on the surface is called the point of incidence. The line that is drawn at right angle to the reflecting surface at the point of incidence is called the normal. The ray that comes back from the surface after reflection is known as reflected ray. The angle between normal and incident ray is called angle of incidence. See the diagram, it is marked as I. I is the angle of incidence. The angle between the normal and the reflected ray is called angle of reflection, which is marked as R in the given diagram. Okay? Reflection of light obeys certain rules called as the laws of reflection. First law of reflection: angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. The second point: incident ray, reflected ray and normal at the point of incidence to the reflecting surface lie in the same plane. From the diagram it is very much clear. In class 7, you had studied some features of the image of an object formed by a plane mirror. The characteristics of image formed by a plane mirror are: first point, the image formed by a mirror is always erect. Second one, the image is virtual, that cannot be obtained on the screen. Third point, the image is of the same size as the object. That means the size of the image is same as that of the size of the object. The image is at the same distance behind the mirror as the object is in the front. So the object distance and the image distance are the same. In the image formed by a mirror, the left of the object appears on the right and the right appears on the left, and this is called lateral inversion. The reflection of rays of light from a smooth surface like that of a mirror is called regular reflection. Images formed by regular reflection or in regular reflection, that means images are formed. And in this type of reflection, the parallel rays after reflection also remain parallel. When the parallel rays reflected from a surface are not parallel, the reflection is known as diffused or irregular reflection. Nearly everything we see around us is seen due to reflection of light that we have already seen. The objects that shine in the light by other objects, they are called as illuminated objects. For example, moon. Moon is not having its own light. So the light which is given by moon is the light which is reflected from the sun. The objects that emit light of its own, they are called luminous objects. Example, sun, and the flame of a candle. That's also an example of luminous objects. Reflected light can be reflected again. And this is used in periscope. What is a periscope then? What's the use of a periscope? Periscopes are used in submarines, tanks, and by soldiers in the bunkers to see the things which are outside. You are aware that a plane mirror forms only a single image of an object, isn't it? If you stand in front of a mirror, a plane mirror, your image will be formed. Then what happens if two plane mirrors are used in combination? Will you get more than one images? Yes, we can see multiple images formed by the combination of plane mirrors depending upon the angle between the plane mirrors. So, more than one images can be formed by the combination of plane mirrors, and the number of images formed depends upon the angle between the plane mirrors, how we arrange them. This idea of number of images formed by mirrors placed at an angle to one another, this is used in a kaleidoscope to make numerous beautiful patterns. Then you can also make a kaleidoscope yourself. Then how to make a kaleidoscope, that we can see. To make kaleidoscope, you have to get 3 rectangular mirror strips, each about 15 cm long and 4 cm wide. Join their reflecting surface together to form a prism. That means join these mirrors, 3 mirrors, in the form of a prism. Fix them in a circular cardboard tube. Make sure that the tube is slightly longer than the mirror strips. Then close one end of the tube by a cardboard disc having a hole in the center. At other end of the tube, paste a circular piece of a glass and ground glass. Keep some distance between them and place several pieces of colored glass. That means if you can use broken pieces of colored bangles and between them. Then when you observe it through the hole, we can see beautiful patterns inside. That means your kaleidoscope is ready. In class 7, you learned that the sunlight is referred to as white light. You also learned that it consists of several colors. And you know that we see things with the help of our eyes. And eye is one of the most important sense organs. So it's therefore important to understand its structure and working. So now we can see the structure of human eye and its working. The eye has a roughly spherical shape. You can see in the picture. The outer coat of the eye is white. It's tough so that it can protect the interior of the eye from any accident. Its transparent front part, it is called as cornea. So it's already marked there. The transparent part which is seen in the front of the eye, it is called cornea. Behind the cornea, the dark muscular structure which is seen is the iris. And in the iris, there is a small opening which is called as the pupil. The small opening which is found in the iris is called pupil. The size of the pupil, it is controlled with the help of iris. And the color of the eye is due to the iris. So, iris is that part of the eye which gives its distinctive color. For example, sometimes we can see a person with green eyes. And here is actually the color of the iris. And the iris controls the amount of light entering into the eye. Behind the pupil, there is a lens, and that lens, it is thicker at the center. And you know that the lens which is thicker at the center, it is a convex lens. So eye lens is having the shape of a convex lens. So this lens focuses light on the back of the eye on a layer which is called as the retina. The retina contains several nerve cells. Sensations felt by the nerve cells are then transmitted to the brain through the optic nerve. See the optic nerve which is marked in the diagram. So there are two kinds of these cells, cone cells and rod cells. Cones are very sensitive to bright light, and rods, they are sensitive to dim light. And the cones, they can sense color. At the junction of the optic nerve and the retina, there are no sensory cells. So no vision is possible at that spot. And this is called the blind spot. Then what's the blind spot? That is, at the junction of the optic nerve and the retina, there are no sensory cells, and due to that there is no vision possible at that junction or at that spot, and this is called the blind spot. Okay, is that clear? Now, when you see an object, the impression of an image does not vanish immediately from the retina. You know, it persists there for about 1/16th of a second. So, if still images of a moving object are flashed on the eye at a rate of faster than 16 per second, then the eye perceives this object as moving. The movies that we see are actually a number of separate pictures in proper sequence. That means the movies that we see, they are what's there? A number of separate pictures are arranged in a proper sequence. They are made to move across the eye, usually at the rate of 24 pictures per second, which is faster than 16 per second. So what we feel, we see the pictures are moving. And you know, nature has provided eyes with eyelids to prevent any object from entering the eye. The eyelids also shut out light when it is not required. Eye is such a wonderful instrument that it can see clearly distant objects as well as objects nearby. That's a normal case. The minimum distance at which the eye can see objects distinctly varies with age. The most comfortable distance at which one can read with a normal eye is about 25 centimeters. Some persons can see objects close to them clearly but cannot see the distant objects so clearly. That means some persons can see nearby objects but they cannot see far away objects. But on the other hand, some persons, they cannot see the nearby objects but they can see the objects which are distant. And we can correct this defect with the help of suitable corrective lenses. Sometimes, particularly in old age, the eyesight becomes foggy. It's due to the eye lens becoming cloudy. That means the reason is that the eye lens, it becomes cloudy. And when this happens, the persons are said to have cataract. So there is a loss of vision. Sometimes it becomes extremely severe. So it's possible to treat this defect. The opaque lens is removed and a new artificial lens is inserted. So nowadays the modern technology, it has made this procedure more simpler and also safer. Now we know that our eye is an important sense organ. So it is very much necessary that we have to take proper care of our eyes. If there is any problem, you should go to an eye specialist, and also we can have a regular eye checkup. If advised, use suitable spectacles. Too little or too much light is bad for the eyes. Insufficient light causes eye strain and headache. While reading, you have to read it in proper sunlight. Too much light like that of the sun, a powerful lamp or a laser torch, it can injure the retina. Then do not look at the sun or a powerful light directly. Never rub your eyes. If particles of dust go into your eyes, wash it with clean water. If there is no improvement, then you can consult with a doctor. And your eyes to be washed frequently with clean water. Always read at normal distance for vision. Do not read by bringing the book too close to your eyes or keeping it too far. Is that clear? And for a healthy eyesight or a healthy eye, balanced diet is very much necessary. That you have already learned in class 6. And if food is deficient in some components, the eyes may suffer. And lack of vitamin A in foodstuff is responsible for many eye troubles. And the most common, that is the night blindness. So you have to include the diet components in which vitamin A is present. Raw carrots, broccoli and green vegetables such as spinach and cod liver oil, they are rich in vitamin A. The eggs, milk, curd, cheese, butter and fruits such as papaya and mango are also rich in vitamin A. Some persons, including children, they can be visually handicapped. They have very limited vision to see the things. Louis Braille developed a system for visually impaired persons and published in 1821. The Braille system has 63 dot patterns or characters. Each character represents a letter, a combination of letters, a common word, or a grammatical sign. These patterns, when embossed on Braille sheets, help visually challenged persons to recognize word by touching. And the present system, it was adopted in 1932. Many Indian languages can be read using the Braille system. So that's all about the chapter Light. You can read the textbook and then understand it. I hope it's clear to you. Thank you.